benefits of them changing their negative behavior or toxic behavior would be both of you would have a better relationship. You will want to talk to that person more and hang out with that person more and be with that person more, as opposed to always being conflicted. Because I think all of us do it, but we do it too late, where we cut off from people when it gets really late, it used to happen to me, like I couldn't say no, and I wasn't happy doing like what this other person was telling me to do, and it came to the point where I just had to completely stop talking. Like, had I just had the sense to create boundaries earlier, we'd still be friends.
A lot of the
so I think it works both ways.
And like you said, for each one it's different. Also, how you perceive that topic is different, and of course your life experience is different. Like for me, I think boundaries is a lot more off the get-go when I meet people, right? It's basically the decision I make of how much to how many people, and what is okay and what is not okay. Those are like the basic boundaries that I think I have. And you're absolutely right that boundaries save relationships. I think I have the number of friends that I have, and the compliment that you so kindly gave me about how I can, have a thing with everyone, because I'm very, very clear about how much this person can affect me. Because as long as I don't have expectations of them and they don't have expectations of me, we're not disappointing each other. And it's always expectations that lead to something. And I can be super nice, kind, and enjoy dinner and go to parties and watch movies, but that doesn't mean every relationship in your life has to be the very, very, very deep one where you're, sharing everything and talking about everything and have all these expectations of each other. And I feel like humanly, it's not possible to have 4-5 of those, more than 4-5 of those, like other than your family, because it's a lot of work. It's not just your love relationship that you put that kind of work into. Even are that work, and to have more than 5 or 6 that are that deep and that connected with that many expectations both ways is exhausting. It's not possible. So I feel like when we try too hard to have everyone on that level is when these things start slipping up, and then like you said, not having boundaries, you're not able to communicate the way you want, you can't say yes and all of that. So I completely agree. And a lot of the tools that you mentioned, some are something I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna try this today or tomorrow. But many of them, because there are a lot of people watching, also I know that the words can trigger you. Like there's a whole chapter on prayer, and I was like, oh, I can see how this is gonna go wrong.
And this is what I did.
You have to read through the chapter. If you just judge it by the heading, it's not
because I was scared, very honestly, which is why I even changed the artwork, like which said like have a conversation with your consciousness, because prayer for me it's as easy as the way I'm talking to you, and I'll just talk to the universe. And I think that's a prayer. When I say I'm willing to feel better, it's a prayer. When I say just help me, and that's all I've said, I think that's a prayer too. And that can be a conversation that you're having with your inner guide, your inner self, your higher self. And I've said that like multiple times. I'm not a religious person, but I think this book has healed me more than I can tell you, because the kind of examples I've written there, like especially ones where which pertain to men and the kind of things they probably did, or these are things I've always blamed myself for, that I was at fault that this happened, or that I was so stupid, like this internal dialogue, no, you're so stupid, like you should have seen this coming, how can you fall for this? And I think when you sort of shine light on that shame, that hey, you did the best you could at that time, you know better now. And I think there was this time, and I swear there's a whole chapter on appreciation, but like I remember there was this one meditation, and there's this one person I was having a very hard time forgiving. According to me, he had done very, very wrong, and I think you know who that person is. But I didn't know how to get over it. Like, it had been so much therapy, and even auntie, like even your mom was like, wow, like this is really, like it's really hurt you a lot. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I remember I just said a prayer, and I said, like universe, like God, whoever's listening, I need to release this. I don't know what to do. And I went on with my life. And 2 weeks later, I've mentioned this in my Skillshare class, even that's full of these examples. But I was doing a meditation on appreciation. And I was just saying, like, I appreciate my hair or like my bed, and like you get in the groove of. And suddenly this person's name came in my mind, and I said, I appreciate this person for teaching me to have boundaries. I appreciate this person for teaching me that I need to believe in myself. I appreciate. And I was crying and I didn't even realize it. And that's when I learned grace, where you can find something to be grateful for, even from the most traumatic experiences. And I truly believe, like you said, even the chapter on like therapists, by the way, like you've seen, I've kept it at the end of the book so that people can first understand that, like, okay, like this is what you can do to help yourself, and sometimes you need a little extra help. Like that's how I always look at it. Like I look at therapy as like, when someone says, oh, you go to therapy, and I'm like, yeah, you should too. Like it's manicure for the mind, babe. Like
That's
how
the
are
same
you not
analogy when
doing
people
it?
ask me about it, that, oh, you've been an actor, how can you change? And what I said, after giving the whole yarn of why I did it, I'm always like, see, when you get a cut on your finger, first thing you do is you put Dettol, you clean it, you disinfect it, then you put your cream, then you put a band-aid, and then you're so careful, you shouldn't touch anything for 2 days till it heals. And this whole process to take care of this small scratch, not once have you touched yourself for getting the scratch. Now, if you take metaphor that having a bout of your depression is the scratch in my mind, why do I disinfect it? Why do I hesitate to put medication on it? Why do I hesitate to give myself those 2 days to deal with it? I'm doing it for my physical wounds. Why am I not doing it for my mental wounds? And so it's the same thing. And I give this analogy all the wrongness in the same thing when it happens to my mind. And that doesn't mean I'm a bad person. If I go through an accident and lose a leg, does that make me a bad person? No. So if I go through something and I have to take medication for the rest of my life, does that make me a bad person? No. So, it's so weird to think that people don't see that, but I also understand why, because of course for ages it's not just the people, right? You can't. It's society who's made us think that it's that thing. It's generational stuff, which we probably don't have time to get into today. But yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, it is. It is. No, it's right. But breaking that cycle is very, very important, because there are so many learned behaviors and learned beliefs.
And gradually, again, doing this.
Oh, by the way, because the first thing had dropped off and we had given this incredible news that my first 50 set of books sold out, and we went into reprinting, and I'd manifested that, and I'd prayed for it that God, please let my book reach people who need to. So what I'm going to do actually, and what Nitya, I hope you're going to agree to do, is from all the wonderful, wonderful people who joined, if they were just to drop a comment as to what happiness means to them, I would love for you to pick 3 people that I can send my book to with a nice little note and autograph, because we sold out and I just got my set of copies and I just want to give 3 of them. Dude, like, of course. Goes without saying. You're coming to Bombay.
That's definitely happening. But I'm happy to do that. Why don't you put a post and collaborate? Actually, when you put this as a collaborative thing, you can put that question in the caption and we'll just give it out as.
Yeah. The giveaway. Like, I'm just going to write a bit about what we discussed, and then I'm going to write about the giveaway. And people can comment, and by tomorrow night, you can just pick 3 people that you like their answers. Because you're one of the first people I even told about the book. It just feels so full circle to kick it off with you. So you pick the people. Just send me just give me the profiles, and I'll follow up and address and everything.
You're gonna put a post. You have to answer what happiness means to you. Lucky winners get a giveaway.
Yeah, what happiness means to you.
Speaking of, since we have people here, anyone has any questions about Rajivi, about her book, about what it means, or what to expect, or any questions about mental health in general? We have about 10 minutes before this ends. If anyone wants to ask, please leave a question in the comment, and we'd be happy to give you guys a shout out and answer your question or talk to you. Anything. So for all those tuning in now, it's a self-help book for mental health to help you with almost anything and everything you're going through. Actually, at least every chapter has something so different, and it doesn't mean that the way the tools are, they have to work exactly in that order, that way, but you really pick up what works for you. And
I actually use it as those artworks, I use it as affirmation cards. Like literally, even I read my book.
I know.
Because Yeah. Because I was like, I read Insta, like I read Insta, correct. I read my book sometimes myself just to sort of remind me of things. And what I do is I just tend to like flip and it opens on like some
Yeah.
drawing, illustration, and then I just go with that's the lesson for the day. That's what
And I
I'm
love
gonna
the
do today,
artwork,
and
by the
that's
way. They're really, really, you know, beautiful and also so body positive. I love it. I love.
all of it. I know, right? I was just like, I just had so much fun sketching them. It was just so good. But I suppose, and one more thing I remember, and I learned from you again. God, like I feel like you played such a massive. But now you know why I'm feeling so upset. I can't see you in December. But okay, there's so much I've learned, and I think the biggest thing I remember that day I launched the Skillshare class, and I remember it was like we came back from a movie and I started crying, and you're like, "What the fuck?" And I remember you were just telling me that, dude, like I can help you like with this other thing that you want, and that's not a problem. But you really need to take a step and just sort of enjoy what you managed, what you've accomplished. Like, why are you not doing that? And it's the same thing. Like my boyfriend ended up telling me yesterday, and I said, dude, like Nitya said the same thing. Like, why can't you just take a second? First, he was like, I have to meet this Nitya man, and then second, he was like, he was just, and I realized that's so true. So for anyone listening and who's thinking that, oh my god, I, didn't do much today, and today I was just a slobber. I just think it is so important to take the time you need to also celebrate even the smallest thing. You won't believe my boyfriend was so adorable at one point. I just told him, I got out of bed and I took a bath today, and he said, "Go, babe, I'm so proud of you." And I'm like, if anyone read our chats, like they would be like, "Oh, she got up and took a bath," and it's like, but it was a big deal to me. I hadn't been able to get out of bed the whole day, so like I believe the same thing. I believe that it's important to have a set of people, but I also think that being lonely and just talking to whoever is available is something that immediately gets your energy lower. It's never a good idea. Healing can be a really lonely process, and I don't think that should scare anyone, because I think all of us are so scared of being with our own selves and our own thoughts and our own fears. And which is why like some of the tools like feeling your feelings and like sort of sitting with yourself and starting a conversation with your intuition, I think this is so important. And I think that is why so many times healing is a lonely process, to teach you how to be a little more kind to yourself, a little more comfortable. And I will again quote your mom, like, to ask a very important question: is this the truth, like all these fearful thoughts, or is this just something my mind is telling me? Because where is the proof? I think that's a beautiful note to sort of bring it back to, like, you and your mom and the things I've learned, and all of them are there in this book. And I cannot thank you enough for taking out the time today. Like, I know how busy you must be for a lot of reasons, and thank you so much, and also for choosing the 3 people
Thing for you, you.
who are going to get the books. And
And
I'm
thank you
very
for having me and saying all these very, very kind and sweet things about me. I've told you this before, but every time you say them, I always feel very overwhelmed that you think so highly of me. So thank you so much.
Oh, I love you. I think you're my soul family, hands down. Like, I've never had a sister, but I think like if I would have one, I would have wanted it to be you. So
Ah,
I'm stoked. Oh my god. Oh,
oh,
I've
that's
never met someone like, oh,
so
just
enough,
thank you.
enough,
I'll
enough.
blabber and
Right.
okay, cool. I'm gonna put this in the caption. I'm gonna collaborate, and you are gonna choose people tomorrow, and we shall do the winner thing. I'll send you a template if you like, just for the
Done.
winner card. This
Done.
thing.
Bye.
Cool. Bye.
Thank you.
And so much fun
Miss
with you.
you. Bye.